Can you hear me now? Wow. Do we have copies of our revised budget anywhere? Okay, I'll talk about it. What's that? Kind of. All right, I will open us in prayer here and then we'll get going. Lord, may our words, may everything that we do today be like an offering to you, just like that last song, Lord. The actions, the words of our church, Lord, help it to be an offering to you. Lord, give me the words to communicate clearly today. In your precious name we pray. Amen. All right, we have an itinerary we're going to put up on the screen here, but basically now we'll entertain a motion to open the meeting. Do we have Ginny, our note keeper? Are you able to keep notes today? Thanks. Do I have a motion here? Sorry, I didn't see it. Jim Ream. A second by Steve Fremling. Any discussion to open a meeting? Hearing none, we'll vote. All in favor of saying aye? Opposed? Motion carries. Our meeting is open. All right, first up, we got William.
Another 30 minutes in me. I'm kidding. Jerry, I'd still like to see you sprint. Hey, there we go. We have some folks who are joining us online today, and so hence the reason why we need mics. This is going to honestly be brief. This year was great. It was seriously a great year. Looking at versus last year our attendance averaged 97. We're up to our average attendance is 141 as of last Sunday. Giving's been really good as well. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, seriously. More people involved in serving than last year. This year, yeah, more people involved in serving. Last year, our kids in student ministry on Wednesday nights averaged 55. This year, our average is still in the 70s in the 60s, because even with the last few weeks being at 40, we still had some really great weeks that they were over that number, so it balanced it out. The number that I really do care about is the people who have gone public with their faith, and that's 14 people have gone public in faith with their baptism this year. That does not include, there's actually another church, so Glory Baptist uses our baptistry and our lobby to do baptisms. They had 4 people also, so that number 14 does not include those 4 people as well, who are at least baptized in our building using the ministry that we have. A couple side little thoughts. This year, teaching, we started off the year as the church that does, teaching series about being the church that does. Someone, when I first moved here, they couldn't get the name of the church right, because obviously it's been 4 names in the past 28 years. And so I think that's pretty important, but they said, oh, that's the church that does stuff. And so hence the name, the church that does. Then we went through the book of Romans, and we did that for 38 weeks, which is insane. We're going to do it again next year in Exodus. Not 38 weeks, though. And then after that, we did the church just wants your money. The church just wants your money actually helped our giving increase throughout the year. The average weekly giving went from 4,000 to up to average 5,000. There's some weeks that it peaks at like 13 to 15,000. There's some other weeks that it balances out. It's higher now at 5,000 compared to 3 at the beginning of the year. And then now we're doing AKA God, which is our Christmas series. So from the teaching team, we're looking at next year. We're really excited about that. Some big plans for next year. January, we're going to do 24 hours of prayer again. So if you did not participate in 24 hours of prayer, we're going to do it again this year. No, you're not just praying for 24 hours. This space is dedicated for that 24 hours from noon on a Friday to noon on a Saturday. That'll be in January. February, still working out the details. I'm hoping that we can host a marriage conference. So not only for people in our church and people who are married, like to be married, want to be married, know somebody who is married. I really actually like to do that as a thing for our community. I have some friends at Focus on the Focus on the Family puts on Weekend to Remember. Some friends who work at Weekend to Remember, they're off in the month of February and March. That's their season off. And they're like, hey, Will, if you ever want to do a marriage conference, we'll fly to, they live in Maine. We'll come to Minnesota to do that. So kind of big plan for that. After that, I've been talking about this since I came. It's called the Balloon Room Expedition. It's a big Easter egg hunt. Hoping to do that either in March or April. I can't remember which one Easter's in. That's weird. Easter's in April. March? March this year? So March would be Balloon Room Expedition. Then it is April. We will, yeah. We'll probably need a couple days for that. This past year, going forward. Let me do next year, and then we'll go back to this past year, finish up this past year. We started off community nights this year, and they went pretty strong for a couple of them, but not all of them did really well, so we're still kind of seeing whether or not we will do community nights again this next year. I know we built a little bit of money into the budget to do that, but we don't have any solid plans for that. Let's see. Following up, we got summer kickoff for our students. Our students next year are going to be, which this is going to be talked about during the budget part, our students are going to be going to the Ark Encounter next July. We're hoping for them to make it to the Ark Encounter in the Creation Museum. It's a week-long trip for them. Instead of sending them to a summer camp, we're going to encourage our students to do that instead because it'll be great for them to build relationship inside their own youth group. September, we'll be back to school time, so we'll have summer kickoff or school kickoff for that. Hoping to do another big backpack drive this year. This year, all in all, Andrew and I did the math. All the Aiken churches together, we donated over $1,500 worth of supplies, which I thought was cool because last year we didn't even count, so this year we started tracking it, which I thought was kind of cool. Our church definitely gave the largest majority of that, which I'm super proud of. When Andrew dropped off the stuff from AG and Reggie came and dropped off the stuff from First, it was really cool to see them bring their stuff in and put it to our gigantic, massive pile that we already had in the lobby. So that was really cool for us. September, back to school time, so backpack drive as well. October, everybody's favorite thing, trunk or treat. This year, 4 carts of candy, because y'all brought in that last cart at the last minute. Excited to get pied again. Yeah, you better thank the Youngs, because they were the one who balanced that out for you. Yeah, I have a text message from Jeff. She doesn't know that guy. Yeah, trunk or treat's always a really great event for us. You know, I'm a numbers person. I really do, numbers are my thing, and because in hotels, that's what you do. Last year, I got really discouraged when our weekend attendance didn't just jump astronomically after trunk or treat. But this year, I think the reminder was that we provided a safe place for people and families to be together and have a good time together. And I think that's the win for me. Yeah, they might not ever attend our church, but at least they're stepping foot into our building. They're at least getting to know, John does a phenomenal job hanging out in the lobby, just talking to people and helping kids get to, hey, there's some bounce houses in there, there's bathrooms there, that kind of thing. I think providing the environment for people to be is the win for me in my book. So, but we do actually see some people. So every year we'll see a couple families, hey, we came because of trunk or treat, so we figured we'd check your church out. All right, cool. November next year, we got Thanksgiving. Oh, also last night, so if you serve on a serve team, last night we had our serve team dinner. Our staff were talking about either doing it in March or September, so it's not at Christmas time, because Christmas time is hectic for everyone. So September, October, November. November is Thanksgiving time. We're going to have Minnesota Teen and Adult Challenge again next year in the beginning of November. Did you guys like Minnesota Teen and Adult Challenge? Yes? If you like them, raise your hand, because in all honesty, all right, cool. All right, awesome. I honestly went back and forth. I was like, the engagement for it? I remember Lisa was like, wait, we need to set out extra chairs, and we were prepared for the doors to be blown off this place, and it was just, I don't know, I didn't see the response that I kind of figured. I figured every seat would be filled. We'd have at least 300 people in the room, including their people, and it was just a normal attendance weekend for us. So, what? You think an ad in the paper would be good? Because we did social media advertising. I understand. I also, how do I say this politely? Working with our newspaper is like pulling teeth on a toothless cat. Huh? It's super easy. Yeah. So I will make that note for next year. Yeah, because we do Easter advertising and Christmas advertising. They're not easy to work with then, so it'll be interesting to try to see how it is with Teen Challenge. And then December next year, our big thing is Christmas Eve. Like I said this morning, hopefully we never get, I mean, if we get to the point that we're having 10 services for Christmas Eve, Lisa will absolutely kill me. But we'll probably be planting churches by then. So I think that's it. This past year, did I talk about everything from this past year? I think so. Yes. Oh, yeah, that's in January. Yeah. Another thing on the January, we're trying to, like, when we sat down in our last staff meeting, we went through the entire year and said, what's the one thing we're going to try to focus on this year? Because I feel like this year we tried to do too much, and so we didn't get as much engagement, I think, for everything. And so we're going to try to be really specific about the right things, doing the right things. So, yes, it is. It's at the end of February. Yeah, it's the 28th. I think that's it. Yeah, thanks. Give it up for Paul. Oh, hey, one other thing. Lisa made me aware of this. When Jim printed these, they technically can't be together because we can't see who votes. So you're going to have to, if you got a full-size pager that has a absentee membership ballot for 2026 on the bottom and the absentee ballot on the top, they have to be ripped apart. You have to rip them between the top and the bottom because we don't want your name on what you're voting for, whether you approve the budget or don't. Smiley face. Bye.
I sure appreciate William and our staff. Okay, about membership real quick. You know, I maybe explained it, but we don't do the annual membership renewal just to cause pain and suffering. There is some reason behind it, some method behind it. It's to keep the roles of the church accurate and updated. And so if you have somebody that, you know, moves away and, oh, are they still a member? Are they not? It's a way to kind of keep that kind of clean and tidy. And so by your presence here today, you're renewing your membership. If you know of someone that didn't make it today or maybe didn't get there online, they just need to let us know basically that they want to reaffirm that membership. We're really not trying to make it a difficult and painful process here. All right, next item that I wanted to discuss was the budget. So we were made aware of an error, and I feel pretty dumb that I didn't catch it, but appreciate for the sharp eyes that did catch it. It was a math error where our columns weren't adding up correctly. So Monday we went back to work, looked at our budget, and here are the highlights that of the changes that we made. And apologies again for not having these printed out so you could see them. It's important to me that our church is transparent, especially with money. And so if come find me if you want to see a paper copy of this, and I'll figure out how to get it to you. I have a digital version here. Basically, though, our total budgeted amount of $300,000 is the same as what we proposed and handed out in paper last week. The problem was all those sub-columns didn't add up to that $300,000. So we've made some revisions because we really expect that we're going to most likely bring in $300,000 in giving from our very generous congregation here. And so we made some changes to salary, trying to, like I told William, if we compensated all of our staff for what they're worth, we couldn't afford it because, you know, we have some very highly talented people, and we're trying our best to compensate them fairly for that. So there were some raises that we applied to, again, the other night. So our total staff budget is now $159,858. I think it was $154 or something like that. So didn't go too well. But another change from the first round you had, we basically took the balance of our error and put a line item for building deferment. So this would be like the projects that we did this year that we didn't budget anything for. We spent, we'll end up spending probably $25,000 on our multi-purpose room in 2025 between the new LED lights and paint and sound paneling. I hope it's going to be amazing. I know it's going to be an improvement. I hope it blows you away because it's a lot of money. It unfortunately costs a lot of money to do work that we just didn't feel like we had that resources to do it in-house. You know, sometimes people afterwards, they say, oh, you bought one of those? Well, you should have told me I had one. That's great after the fact, so I hope we don't say, oh, you hired somebody to paint that room. You should have told me. I would have done it. So If that is you, I'm sorry, but we hired that work out. Know somebody like that? Also, in our budget change, we increased the amount for camp scholarships. Like Will said, we're looking at sending, we would like to make sure that every kid that wants to go to these trips can do it, so we increased that camp scholarship money. And we also added a line item for our adult ministry, which if you hear Micah making his announcements, it's a really cool thing we have going on. So, I don't have paper copies of them, no. Okay, the paper copies were available out in the lobby, and we don't have them up on the screen. Do you have any specific question that I can answer? And if you want to see that paper copy, let me know, and I'll figure out how to get. I failed. I didn't get those printed out. Yes. Yes. How about I have them available to pick up next week and for a couple weeks after? Does that sound fair? Okay. Okay. Should we table that one? If you guys want, we can see that. We'll just jump ahead and talk about new leadership team members. So our church bylaws has a process for new leadership team members. This year coming off was technically me. I moved into Lisa Young's spot for a 1-year term remaining, and then Laurel Fremling decided she was done, so she came off. So that actually created 2 openings due to some other like leadership team members coming off. So this year, our nominating team would like to recommend and does recommend Julie Wickham and Paul Anderson, 2 people that have been great and faithful servants and are now willing to serve on the leadership team board. So to approve those, you may vote by doing so on your ballot. And yep, Paul Anderson's here. Yep, Paul, would you mind standing up? You guys want to give a speech or anything? And Julie is, I don't see Julie. Yeah, they were away, I know. Paul serves about any chance he can get here, it seems like. And notably on Wednesday nights, serving kids food. And Julie has been kind of leading up the cleaning crew. Both, great servants. Looking forward to having them on the team. And maybe Sundays also. No? Okay. Church membership is funny. I'm preaching to the choir here because you're here, but church membership doesn't bring you any closer to Jesus, right? But I mean, we're not serving. It does require to further the kingdom to make this organization happen, and that's all church membership is. And so I appreciate you guys being willing to say yes, I want to be a member, and to say yes further that you'll serve on the board. So thank you very much, y'all. So you guys can do that voting whenever you'd like. Otherwise, we entertain a motion. See, doing a ballot vote, so I don't know that we need a motion. My Robert's rules are a little rusty. Anybody? I mean, parliamentary experts. Ginny. Okay, we're doing a ballot vote, so I don't actually think we probably need a motion. Well, yes, because our I'm expecting a voice vote for. No, it's on there. I don't want to collect the ballots yet because we haven't passed out the revised budget. Yes. I don't have those exact numbers. would say it has increased, but not directly proportional. Yep, we have a lot of seekers. I think William and the team, we put on a great worship experience, and I think we're doing a great job at filling seats on Sundays. But I think room for improvement is probably developing that, committed members that are willing to take the next steps. Any other questions here while we kind of hang out for? So we've got painting that's supposed to happen this week. Painting the ceiling and the walls, and that's in preparation for acoustic panels. So we had acoustic panels made, and they will be applied on the walls going all the way around. So hopefully you won't be like in a shouting fishbowl or whatever it sounds like in there on an event like today. And Wednesday nights it's awful too. If you can't have a conversation in there, especially when there's basketballs bouncing and stuff like that. So it's an attempt to deaden the sound in there. Other projects coming up. Long term, we're looking at. We had with some issues with our roof, and I think that's a pretty important thing to be taken care of. It was mostly big storm events that we would get a little bit of water that showed up back there in that corner. That's a big deal. We're looking at that. We did get a quote for a full replacement. It's a lot of money, about $100,000, and I think that's on the low end because other estimates were considerably higher. We're looking at that. We have on the long-term horizon would be improvements to our parking lot, a more permanent signage, and then just continuing with the operations stuff. We were kind of in triage mode for the first year or two of our existence as Northwoods, and after breaking off from the Journey North. But I think we're at a place now where we need to start looking at our facilities and how can we take good care of that and just kind of invest for the next round. And I feel like that multi-purpose room or gym or whatever you call it is an extremely important, maybe the second most important room in our building here. And I think Journey North, when they remodeled this building, they just ran out. They ran out of money, and that was, for them, that was a lower priority room to actually remodel. And so we're kind of finishing that project maybe, right? Making it match the rest of the building with hopefully a decently acoustic experience in there. Yeah. So the process of becoming a member, we've tried to make also as painless as possible. I think in your weekly, am I wrong? Isn't there a thing at the bottom? Does anybody know? It's gonna take me maybe too long to find. I'm wrong. Who'd like one of these? The process, though, of becoming a member would be first an interested person needs to make that interest known, and then they'd briefly meet with Will or I think one of the elders, and they would just ask them basically a few questions. We're not trying to squeeze a full what's my word, testimony, but making sure that they agree with the the Constitution of Northwoods, and we want them to be baptized as an adult. So there are a few, requirements that we would ask, but they're outlined in our Constitution. But yeah, if you guys, sorry, yeah, a new member. I mean, we added a new member in Paul Anderson, just to a meeting with William, right? And he was made a member. I mean, we want it to be a process because we don't want anybody just walk in our church and be like, hey, I'm a member, I'm going to vote on your stuff. But we're trying to make it as painless as possible. I'll give you guys a couple minutes to look over those money numbers. We already did that. Yeah, that's already paid for. What about the lighting? That's it. Yeah. Yeah, so that was done earlier this calendar year. Yeah, so there was LED lights in there, but they were like first generation LED lights, and they were maybe less than half. We were losing more than half of them. They just failed. And you can't replace a LED light. You just replace the whole fixture, basically. Yeah, because we're trying. That's what we spent already this year on facility renovation that we want to do under a building deferment line item. We didn't budget for any building improvements in the past. We did approve them, but it was outside of the budget. We were just in just keep the doors open. We did decide to do the LED light upgrade outside of the meeting because the timing seemed right. It needed to be done. It was dark in there. Yeah, and like the time, yeah, yep. We really wanted to kind of get all these questions out of the way last week, but I understand if you weren't here. Um, and all those numbers are based on what we have had to spend in the past. Water fountain, no, not yet. It's purchased. Person to do it. Any other questions? And I guess if there are none, then that we're doing a ballot vote on our budget and a ballot vote on our new members. Also with your membership down there. Like I said, then you'll separate that ballot so that we know that your ballot is then secret, and we will know which persons renewed their membership. So if you hand those in to the middle row and Jim can collect them after you separated them all, we'll do a quick count there and we'll have the results of the ballot. And while that's happening, I guess it's probably not going to take very long, but I just wanted to recognize Laurel for her many years on the leadership team. Laurel was started on the team a while back, and she was definitely there during some tough times, right? Separation from Journey North and meeting twice a month or more. Put in a lot of time on this board, and Laurel's still going to be serving in a high capacity, I'm sure, but decided that she was done for this term. So thanks, Laurel. One of the first items of business, I suppose, for the leadership team in the new year will be to elect members. So I'm the chair right now. I apologize, church, for my lack of preparation here for this meeting. Sometimes I wonder, what am I doing here? I'll just be honest. Then I remember something I heard: God doesn't always call the qualified; He qualifies the called. And so I'm still wondering, like, come on, Lord, qualify me. Um, but it's happened. I appreciate your graces that you have shown us, and if there's, I hope we're at least, if not super uh, professional, maybe we're at least approachable, and you can ask us, and we'll get it figured out about what's happening and how we're doing things. Because, like I say, it is important to me that we're transparent in all things like financial and all the kind of decisions that are going on.
Let's make this really clear. Because the leadership team is a very disparate group of people, and Paul has the ability to corral our thoughts. Not get out of a meeting till 9:45, but we're corralled when we do so.
Thanks, Church. So after our meetings, so we meet Monday nights. I think it's about the second Monday now. We meet here once a month. Afterwards, we come into the auditorium here and pray. That's been William's thing, and I really, really appreciate it. I really come to like it. But afterwards, every time, I always think, I still like these people. And that's after a meeting, where we maybe didn't all have the same idea, but I still like these people. And I'm looking forward to new members of the team. I hope, I'm sure I'll still like them too at the end of those meetings. So. So just to clarify, your current leadership team then would be me, Paul Kazmerzak, Jim Ream, Jason O'Hara, Paul Anderson, Julie Wickham. Will sits on the board as like what is it called, a de facto or member or something like that. William doesn't really vote, but we definitely look for a lot of input, and he's definitely a member of the team, but just not a voting member unless the situation of a tie. Okay, on the ballot question of approval of 22 votes, on the approval of the 2026 budget, we have yes 22, no 1, and 2 no votes, so that motion carries. And the matter of election of the new members, Julie Wickham, yes 25, no 0, and Paul Anderson, yes 24, and 1 no vote. So that motion carries also. So our budget is approved, and we have elected 2 new leadership team members. Unless there are any other items of discussion, which I will hear now, we'll entertain a motion to close the meeting. Right here. Sorry. What was that? Laurel was the second. Jenny, you getting all this? Get our numbers. We got a motion to close. Judy, second by Laurel. Any discussion? Okay. I think the ballot. Yeah, yeah. We don't need a voice vote because we did a paper ballot. Okay, yeah. We just need a majority. So it's overwhelming majority. Hearing none, will entertain. We already have a motion on the floor. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of adjourn, say by aye. Opposed?